This is Channel 29 News in Focus with Penny Karras, Gary Miller, and Chris King on sports. Now, Channel 29 News in Focus.
Downtown California was evacuated Friday afternoon when a gasoline tanker overfilled the unleaded gas tanks in front of Quickville. Little after 3 p.m., Diane Sapezi smelled gasoline in the Sapezi's Inn, promptly called the firemen and asked everyone to leave the building. According to truck driver David Berner, who works for Lehman Chemical Tank Lines Incorporated, only 20 gallons of gasoline overflowed from his truck. But Borough Fire Chief Tom Hartley Jr. said more gasoline than that escaped, and he was surprised that there was no explosion. The overspill entered the storm sewer system of the downtown area, and firemen tried to flush out the sewers with water to dilute the gasoline. They also used exhaust fans to get rid of the gas fumes in several area businesses. Thankfully, no injuries were reported in that gasoline accident in downtown California. Nearby residents in Fayette County are worried about another possible health threat. The cancer-causing chemical, PCB, has been discovered in several dumping sites in Fayette and Greene counties. The Environmental Protection Agency announced that Texas Eastern Transmission Corporation and 4 other pipeline companies are responsible for the toxic dumping at nearly 100 sites statewide between 1984 and 1985. The EPA has authorized Texas Eastern to remove the waste to an official PCB repository as soon as the ground thaws.
A train struck a 13-year-old boy in Charleroi Wednesday evening. Edward Shanley of Charleroi is in fair condition after being rushed to Pittsburgh's Children's Hospital. The operators of the Conrail train told police that they blew the whistle several times when they noticed him on the tracks.
When we return, students find out what could happen to their financial aid.
Two Perryopolis brothers are being held in the Fayette County Jail without bond at the time of this taping. William and Stephen Loas were arraigned before District Magistrate Michael Rubish in Smock last Wednesday on charges connected with the death of Philip Morris. Morris was found dead in the trunk of his car, burned nearly beyond recognition. An autopsy revealed that he had been severely beaten and nearly fatally stabbed in the head before he was placed in the car and lit on fire. Testimony from Wayne Crosley, who was with the Loas brothers on January 31st, the night of Morris's death, apparently convinced District Magistrate Rubish that there is sufficient evidence to return the men to jail. 3 California University students were arraigned before District Justice Darrell Zeman last week on charges relating to the theft of several parking meters in downtown California. The thefts occurred February 12th. The next day, 2 meters were found in the basement of a fraternity house. A 3rd meter has not been recovered. Michael Riley and Clayton Stoner turned themselves in to the borough police, while Michael Schrenker was arrested after a police investigation. According to fraternity president Fred Patterson, Sigma Tau Gamma plans disciplinary action against Riley and Stoner, who stored the stolen meters in the basement of their fraternity house. If the 3 students are found guilty in the March 20th preliminary hearing, Dean of Student Life Dr. Philip Hayes says California University may also take action against them.
Students at California University and the other 13 state-owned schools already pay the 3rd highest tuition rate in the country for state-owned schools. Add to that the fact of the reauthorization bill signed by President Reagan last October, and students throughout the country may be facing a serious financial problem. Assistant Director of Financial Aid Joyce Spencer explains that changes for the new bill include a redefinition of an independent student and changes in eligibility for students already receiving some types of financial aid.
Although the amount of loan monies that may be borrowed next year for the 87-88 year is going to be increased as far as the levels of funding, the eligibility of the students will be cut back, and therefore there will not be as many students eligible to obtain guaranteed student loans.
25% of California University students may lose their Pell Grants if the 1988 budget proposal is passed as it now stands. By the same token, guaranteed student loan borrowers would have to pay their interest while they are still in school, and work-study hours may be cut for students who are paid by the state. Director of Financial Aid Gary Seeley will hold the Financial Aid Forum on the California campus this Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the Learning Resource Center auditorium.
The Awareness Program Committee here at California University is sponsoring Alcohol Awareness Week, March 1st through the 5th. This week-long series of events aimed at educating students about responsible alcohol consumption is being coordinated by many campus organizations that are dedicating their time and expertise. A series of lectures and informative seminars are scheduled to begin Monday, March 2nd. Featured speakers this week include Candy Leitner, founder of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, Jesse McLean, a state police spokesperson, and Rich Rainak. The university is hoping to provide students with valuable program that will help supply them with information needed to make their own decisions about alcohol. When we return, funny money showing up on campus.
Plus the beginning of some bridge construction in the area.
Pocket change is a highly valued item on the California University campus. Problems with the change machines here have forced students to hoard change for the laundry or that pick-me-up snack in the middle of the day. Maureen Kahn checks on the situation.
Do you have change for $1? That's a question you hear a lot around campus. It seems like you can never get change when you need it, and don't always rely on the change machines because when they are in working order, they may be empty. Now there's a new jingle to the change situation. Someone has tried to use phony money in the change machine. Although this is an isolated incident, SAI spokesman Dave Smith tells me that SAI is taking measures to prevent it from happening again. What is SAI doing about the counterfeiting incident?
We're monitoring the machines on campus, both the coin machines and the copying machines. We've also notified security, and as we find bills that have been put into the coin machines illegally, then we will turn them over to security, and they, along with SAI, will conduct an investigation.
Do you anticipate any more problems with the counterfeiting?
I would certainly hope not. We've put some articles in the newspaper, and through Channel 29, we're hoping to let students know, or anyone know that's using counterfeit money in the machines, that it is a federal offense.
Many students are frustrated about the lack of change on campus, particularly in the dorms. Are you a resident here in Clyde Hall?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a lot of problems with the change machine here?
Yes, we do. Every time we come down to get changed, it's always broken.
Is it broken or is it usually out of change?
I think they fill it up with change every day. It just always breaks.
Do you have a lot of problems with the change machine here in Clyde?
Yes, I do.
Is it broken a lot?
Well, when it does work, there's very little change in it, and when it doesn't work, you can't get anything out of it.
The reason the change machine here in the vending room empties so quickly is that a lot of people use the change, which is put in by Barb Foods, to do their laundry on the weekends. Dave Smith told me that SAI is going to try and get Mackey Corporation, who are the people that put in the washers and dryers here, to put in their own change machine in the laundry room. He said this should alleviate much of the change problem, and he also said that he feels pretty confident Mackey will go along with the idea. Maureen Kahn, Channel 29 News, Clyde Hall.
California University and the Community College of Allegheny County will be receiving $75,000 from the State Department of Education for the development of the North Washington County Education Consortium. The two colleges are forming the consortium in the hope of meeting the post-secondary needs of the residents of northern Washington County.
The inter-county bridge in Brownsville will be getting a facelift to be completed by the end of this year. PennDOT plans to keep the renovation as close as possible to its original 1913 structural design. The inter-county bridge is listed as a historical structure within the state. Construction will begin next week on another bridge, the rebuilding of the Monongahela Bridge. Once the work begins, some lanes of Route 88 will be closed for a few months. In Washington County, both southbound lanes of Route 88 will be closed, restricting all traffic to the northbound lanes, one lane for northbound traffic and the other for southbound. Route 136 will also be narrowed during the construction. The entire rebuilding process is expected to take several months to complete. Gary?
This week, Community Insider with Vivian Morton profiles an opera singer who changed keys to become a restaurant owner, John Angelo.
We're visiting with John Angelo at his restaurant on 2nd Street in California, PA. Hi, John.
Good evening, Vivian.
How long have you been in the restaurant business?
Here in California, Pennsylvania, about 5 years. I've owned it for the last 2 years.
And what did you do before that, John?
I lived in London for about 15 years and studied and worked as an opera singer, professional opera singer throughout Europe. There were moments when I wasn't working at my career and went into the restaurant business with friends and studied the culinary arts and enjoyed it so much that I chose it as a hobby. Now it's become my second career.
How did you prepare for your career in opera?
Well, that spans several decades. When I left this community in 1962, I went to the Juilliard School of Music, and halfway through the term, President Kennedy was shot and joined the armed forces then, and through many years of circumstances after that, ended up at the Royal College of Music in London, and decided to stay over there.
When was your last tour, and when do you expect maybe to do another tour?
We finished the last tour just this past summer. We did Paris, Frankfurt, and London. And generally, Handel festivals, Handel is the composer I work most prolific with, should be the latter part of June up until middle of July.
What made you give up such an exciting career and come back to California? Yes, it is.
Well, I'm the third generation in this building. My grandparents opened it in 1934. My parents bought it in '61. And my parents called me up, and we had been communicating for several years over the possibilities of me purchasing the restaurant from them. And I came over in 1980, and tried my hand at it, tried managing it, and decided about a year and 3/4 ago, almost 2 years ago, that I'd take the chance and purchase it and see what could happen with it. This business is just as exciting as being on stage. I'm the choreographer here, I'm the lighting man, I'm the director, I'm the producer, the set designer. My entire room is mostly like a theatrical set. We have artwork on the walls, family portraits, personal items, items that have been purchased that have just been made for us, like our stained glass and things like that. So I didn't really leave. I left one exciting career to go into another one.
You use your artistic talent of improvising and tell our viewers a little story about this doll.
A little story about this doll. Well, she's not really very old. She's about 60. And the story behind her is kind of cute. It's one of the few things, excuse me, not the only thing, but one of the few things Mother and Dad left me when they moved from here to Las Vegas. And it was a present to my grandmother from her parents, and it goes with the large tapestry bedspread behind you. They're both dated at 1927. The tapestry was woven by nuns in my grandmother's hometown, and I assume the doll was made in that area. I don't have any positive proof on it, but we like having them together. A lot of people ask about them.
That area you refer to is?
Sicily.
John Angelo is more than a successful entrepreneur. He is a professional opera singer. John Angelo's is best known as the alternative to bad taste. This is Vivian Morton, Channel 29 News, from John Angelo's in California, Pennsylvania. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Vivian. Vulcan Mania is running wild. Sports is next with Chris King.
Well, the Vulcans really pulled off a big victory this week, didn't they, Chris?
A very big one for sure, Gary. The California University basketball team was crowned as PSAC Western Division champion when they knocked off the Lockhaven Bald Eagles Wednesday night at Hamer Hall. The meeting was the third time the two teams have battled each other this season, and marked the second time that California came up victorious. Vulcan basketball team celebrating after a big 83-76 victory over IUP last week. With that victory, the Vulcans ended the regular season and captured the PSAC Western Division crown for the first time in 17 years. The Vulcans would face an even greater challenge as the Lockhaven Bald Eagles came to Hamer Hall for a game that would send the winner on to face the Eastern Division champion for the PSAC State Championship. Emotions were high as Joe Miller got this steal and took it the distance of the court for a slam dunk, and right there tempers began to flare as referees tried to break things up. That was the first fight, and as another one came in right here, Joe Miller with the second fight. He was involved as well as Daryl Norfleet and Marshall Kenley. Both teams were given technical fouls.
Well, I think that anytime you get into a big game, like naturally this was, you know, tempers are going to flare. Both teams want to win bad. Everybody's very competitive and playing hard, and that just makes it a little bit more intense on the court.
In the first half, the Vulcans had their problems and were down by 6 points at halftime, 39-33. Things got worse as Lockhaven extended their lead to 10 points at one time in the game. But the Vulcans stormed back as Dana Zychek here hits a three-pointer. The Vulcans were sparked by Daryl Norfleet and Joe Miller on the comeback. Miller here with a slam dunk. He ended up with 23 points in the game. Daryl Norfleet led the Vulcans with 30 points. That was his season high. And right here he gets the steal and takes it coast to coast for an easy basket. And Coach Boone liked what he saw.
Hey, the kids just did a tremendous job. That's all you can say. You know, they played their hearts out. They got down 10. They didn't quit. They started doing the things that we do, and they did them well. And just all the credit goes to the kids.
The Vulcans were victorious by the score of 86-84 and earned the right to play the Millersville Marauders for the PSAC State Championship. California University's other basketball team, the Lady Vulcans, will not be going to the playoffs. They finished with an 11-16 overall record and just missed qualifying for postseason play. For more on the Lady Vulcans, here's Channel 29's Bob Orquist.
The California Lady Vulcans finished off their season Saturday versus the Indiana University Lady Braves. The Lady Vulcans came out losers and finished their conference season with a 4-6 record, but they gained some valuable experience during the year.
I'll be honest with you, we're really thrilled with the second half of the season. First half of the year, you start off 1-10, then you finish up 10-5. You know, it's like almost day and night, two different seasons. The gals really came around. We got a few gals that were injured back. We played real solid about the last 10 games or so. Exceptionally pleased with that. I think it's a great springboard for us to use heading into next year.
Head coach Paul Flores has nothing but high hopes for next season.
We got 4 starters back with the leading rebounder in the conference, the #1 free throw shooter in the conference, what will hopefully be the ECAC Rookie of the Year in Sandy Stodolski. I'm talking about Kathy Aheimer and Sam Gottschalk and the others. Kim Rutledge, who came on like gangbusters the end of the season, played her heart out. 4 starters back. We got to fill 1 slot. JJ Nuremberg is going to be vying for that, along with a couple of 6'1" girls, 3 hopefully, that 2 of which have committed to come in. So we should be in real good shape. And I don't.
Next year, the Lady Vulcans should turn some heads in the Pennsylvania Conference. Reporting on the Lady Vulcans, I'm Bob Orquist, Channel 29 Sports. Back to you, Chris.
The high school basketball playoffs are underway, and many local teams around the area are involved in the action. In Quad A, the Uniontown Red Raiders easily handled Bethel Park 68-52. Darrell Truly and Dana Vaughn led the Red Raiders with 15 points each. In AAA action, the Brownsville Falcons won their preliminary matchup over the Still Valley Ironmen 61-52, but the Falcons were beaten in the quarterfinals by the tough Southmoreland Scotties 56-52. In AA action, Albert Allen defeated Charleroi 60-53. Doug Smith led the way for the Cougars. He had 14 points in the losing cause. Sarah blew out Best Center 80-58. Frank Magda and Buddy Pugh had 14 points each for the Bulldogs. In girls basketball playoff action in AAA, Charleroi had no problem defeating Still Valley 40-24. In Single A, Carmichael squeaked by the Mon Valley Spartans 44-42. Shauna Del Vito led the Lady Spartans with 14 points. While high school sports are still fresh on our minds, there is a man in Bell Vernon who has been around many different athletic programs. Channel 29's Bob Orquist has the story of Jim Ware, who is retiring after 46 years of service.
Over the years here at Belle Vernon Area High School, there have been many athletes, and along with those athletes, many special memories. Of course, with every athletic program, there are plenty of wins, but sometimes there are losses. Over the past 20 or so years here at Belle Vernon, there has been one constant associated with athletics here. That is the athletic director, Mr. Jim Ware.
I always point out what the reason I stayed so long. 46 years is a long time for anything. But to stay in one school district that long, it would have to be because of the people that I've been associated with over those years. When you're wanted and loved and respected like I've been, and of course I returned that love and respect too to the people of this district. So it worked out pretty nice for me.
Over the years, Mr. Ware has seen many faces come and go, and of course there are some that stand out.
I could name names from now till doomsday, but some people stand out in my career, and one would be this Ed Hogan, who is now president of the Stoney's Brewery. He would stand out because he came from the Navy, just a young Navy recruit, so to speak, and I sort of took him under my arms, and he's paid me back in love and respect.
I guess you could say that Jim Ware has a special relationship with athletics.
It's all related to athletics. Athletics has been good to me, and hopefully I've been good to athletics, and so it bounced out pretty good for me.
In the 46 years that Jim Ware has been associated with athletics here in the Belle Vernon area, sports teams under him have gotten a lot of awards, and all those can be a tribute to a very special man. Bob Workwis, Channel 29 Sports in Belle Vernon. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Bob. And finally in sports, did you ever sit back while watching professional basketball on television and think to yourself, where did these players get their start? Well, in California, youth basketball is the springboard to stardom for many young athletes. For more of that story, here's Channel 29's Carl Anderson.
There are many towns that have youth basketball programs, and California, Pennsylvania is no exception. I talked with Vito Dentino, the president of California's Youth Basketball League, and I asked him when the program got started. I also talked with a few of the players. Who says basketball is just for guys? Sometimes scoring points isn't the easiest thing in the world, but then again, winning isn't everything. Carl Anderson, Channel 29 Sports at California Middle School.
Well, the basketball season is finally winding down, but baseball is right around the corner.
And we're looking forward to that, Chris. Thanks a lot. Penny?
And coming up next, Wing It the Week with Maureen Kahn. Joining us now, Maureen Kahn with Wink at the Week.
Today marks the beginning of Alcohol Awareness Week on the California University campus. Students are encouraged to increase their own awareness of alcohol by attending the many programs on campus throughout the week. Don't pass up this opportunity to learn how alcohol affects you. Tickets are on sale now for Wang Chung appearing at California University March 23rd at Hamer Hall. Tickets in advance are $5 with a student ID or $7 general admission. At the door, tickets can be purchased for $7 with a student ID and $9 general admission. You can purchase your advance tickets at the Information Center at the Student Union. And don't forget, one more time, an evening of Black Vaudeville will be presented at Steele Auditorium March 3rd at 8 o'clock p.m. And music lovers are in luck this week. There are 2 concerts on campus that will be free to the public. Next Sunday, the Intercollegiate Band Association will present an afternoon concert in Steele Auditorium at 2:30 p.m. And this Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m., mezzo-soprano Linda K. Jukes will appear at Reed Arts Center. She will perform both classical and contemporary selections. For Wink at the Week, I'm Maureen Kahn.
Wang Chung sounds exciting. Thanks a lot, Maureen.
As we reported last week, Columbia Gas is giving their customers a much welcome surprise: lower rates. When the rate cut goes into effect, it will save the average customer over $8 a month. Channel 29's Joe Duffy has more.
We've been hearing for a few weeks weeks now about the announced rate decrease. But what will the rate cuts mean to you, the customer? Columbia Gas's Norman Tiefert explains.
We're fortunately now in a situation where we're decreasing the price of gas. In fact, it's decreased like 12% in the last 2 years, and it's going to decrease another 8% through this year. So for the last 3 years, by the end of '87 here, we should see a net reduction of 20% in your bill from 3 years ago, which is good news for everybody, I'm sure.
I had a chance to speak to a few of the pleased Columbia Gas customers. Your reactions to the announced rate cut by Columbia Gas?
Well, I have hoped they put it through because I've seen two things on it. One, they said it's going to cut it, and the other said they're going to raise it.
And you feel that you do pay too much right now? About how much do you pay?
Well, last one I paid was $132 a month.
So this is obviously going to be something welcome. They also announced it's a growing trend. You'll certainly be looking forward to
yeah. Oh, yeah, I hope you keep cutting it.
Oh, yeah. I like that, yeah.
And this rate cut is apparently a pleasant surprise to you.
Yes, it is.
So you'll certainly welcome the cut on your bill. Your bill is usually a little bit too high?
Yep.
How much do you usually pay a month, would you say, as far as Columbia Gas is?
Once it's over $100, about $120.
Customers are obviously used to hearing the term rate increase, but Columbia Gas has given them a pleasant surprise by actually announcing a rate decrease. And as the customers did say, it's certainly something that they'll welcome seeing on their monthly gas bill. Joe Duffy, Channel 29 News in Charleroi.
For the entire Channel 29 News team, I'm Penny Karras.